Good morning, everyone. So I'm going to start with a story and a scenario that you probably will sound very familiar to you. It's Monday morning. An executive asked the team a simple question. Why did occupancy drop last month? Everybody looks at each other. So then somebody goes in and pulls a report from property management software or a BI tool or an Excel spreadsheet that they had put together previously. 30 minutes later, you have 5 spreadsheets, 3 different answers, and nobody is entirely sure what number is right. The problem isn't that we don't have data. We've got plenty of data, right? The problem is that we need some clarity around that data. So this is where, when you say most reporting tools claim they can eliminate spreadsheets, but in reality, they just create better spreadsheets to export into Excel, right? And once everything lands in Excel, every department ends up building their own version of the truth. Operators don't wake up in the morning asking for more dashboards. They ask for clear answers. They want to understand performance quickly, trust the numbers, and move on to making decisions. But many reporting environments today create the opposite experience. Instead of clarity, teams deal with too many reports, conflicting data, manual Excel work, and hours spent trying to interpret numbers. The reality is more data doesn't equal better insights. What operators really need is 3 things. First, clarity, the ability to understand performance quickly. Second, unity, a single source of truth where everyone is looking at the same numbers. And finally, insight, reports that actually answer the questions that are being asked. I see nods in the audience. One of the biggest frustrations operators face in the reporting tools available today, it often forces users into rigid templates, right? So teams end up doing what many of us have done for years, exporting data into Excel, and this creates a cascade of problems. Data has to be manually stitched together. Different teams build different versions of the same report. Numbers don't always match, and leadership ends up questioning which version is correct. Instead of focusing on decisions, people spend their time reconciling spreadsheets. What operators actually need is something much simpler. One place where data lives, one version of the truth, and reports that adapt to the way operators think, not the other way around. So, the goal of modern reporting shouldn't be to create more dashboards. It should be to answer questions faster. Questions like, why did occupancy drop last month? Which properties are driving NOI changes? Where are leasing trends shifting? What operational issues need attention today? When reporting works properly, leadership doesn't have to dig through reports to find answers. The system should surface the story of performance automatically, because ultimately reporting isn't about charts. It's about confidence in the number and the speed of your decision making. Another challenge we see across the industry is the complexity of reporting implementations. Many organizations adopt reporting tools that requires months of setup, extensive customization, and ongoing maintenance. By the time everything is configured, the business has already changed. Operators don't want a 6-month reporting project. They want something that works quickly, something that moves them from sign up to meaningful reporting without a long technical process. In other words, reporting should feel like turning on a light switch, not launching an IT initiative. And we've got plenty of those, don't we? When reporting works the way it should, something interesting happens inside of organizations. Teams stop talking about reports and start talking about performance. Instead of asking, where did this number come from, they start asking, what should we do about it? That shift from reconciling numbers to acting on insights is what strong reporting enables. It reduces friction, builds trust in the data, and gives the leaders the ability to focus on running their portfolio. One operator described transformation perfectly. Before improving their reporting process, their team was dealing with fragmented reports, time-consuming manual data pulls, and constant frustration trying to get clear answers. To get the information they needed, they were exporting data into Excel and combining multiple reports just to piece together basic insights. So instead of building spreadsheets, the team now can simply ask for the insight they need and receive it immediately. The result wasn't better reporting, it was a better decision-making environment that they produce. As an industry, we've already solved the problem of collecting the data. The opportunity now is to solve the problem of understanding it. When operators have clarity, unity, and real insight, reporting stops being a burden and becomes a strategic advantage. Teams move faster, decisions improve, and leadership can focus on what actually matters, operating and growing the portfolio. Because at the end of the day, what operators really need isn't more reports, they need clarity. Thank you so much for your time today.